All right, we're back. So we got Sean Strickland taking on Jared Cannonier this weekend. I hope you guys followed our last picks. So last week's UFC, if you check our picks, we made 10 picks. Main event obviously went to a draw, so your bet was a push. 8 wins, 1 loss is what our record was. So out of the 9 picks that we made 8-1, not bad. I think our only loss was Quarantillo and Hernandez. So let's see if we can keep that momentum going. I mean, who else is getting 8-1 on entire cards? And if you check our Instagram, I place my bets beforehand and then I show you guys. So if you guys seen my bets I placed beforehand, we won on one of them, and obviously the other one we won as well, but we didn't make as much because Magomed Ankalaev was a push. Unfortunately, even though I did think he won rounds 1, 4, and 5, but it was a close fight. I might have to go back and rewatch it, but it wasn't the most exciting fight. So we got this last fight night of the year. I believe it is. Yeah, last fight night of the year. Cannonier, Sean Strickland, even odds. I love that. Even odds. This could go either way. So let's start in the beginning. So if you guys seen even the fight before that, we actually went 5 for 5 on our bets on the Holland and Wonderboy. I just wasn't able to post a video. I was out of town. But let's get into this card here. So bantamweights, we got Sergey Morozov takes on Journey Newson, and Sergey Morozov, I believe he's fighting out of Kazakhstan. Not too many guys are fighting out of Kazakhstan, other than Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's probably the big name. So Sergey Morozov, he's 2-2 in his last 4 fights, but those 2 losses were to top guys: Umar Nurmagomedov, who's undefeated, insane right now, and Douglas Silva D'Andrade. Now he's taking on Journey Newson, journeyman. He's got, he won against Fernie Garcia, but then, he's coming off 2 straight losses before that. So 1 win in his last 3 fights, not including the no contest. I think I'm leaning towards our boy from Kazakhstan. So I'm going to go with Sergey Morozov on that one. Up next, Manel Cape takes on David Dvorak. David Dvorak coming off a loss to Mateus Nikolai. Before that, though, he was on a roll. Big roll. He was on a pretty big win streak. Fought Mateus Nicolau and then, lost the decision. And then here we are. So Manel Cape came into the UFC not too great. Lost 2 straight to Pantoja, Nicolau. So similar opponents there. But then his last 2 fights, man, he looked good, dude. For both first round knockouts, one was a flying knee. His last 2 fights were super impressive. So I'm gonna stay with Manel Cape on that one. He's a big favorite as well, -240. I don't know if I agree with the -240 odds, but I do think Manel Cape should get it done. Now, next in the welterweights, Brian Battle takes on Renat Fakhretdinov. No odds have been placed on this fight, I can see. Even if I check my betting website, I don't see any odds. But I'm leaning towards Renat Fakhretdinov. I think, don't get me wrong, Brian Battle's really good. He, especially coming off that knockout win over Takashi Sato. But I think, is he going to be able to deal with the grappling of Renat Fakhretdinov? These Russians, man, they got really strong grappling. And he's super experienced, 20 wins, 2 losses, and he's on a huge win streak. I'm going with Renat Fakhretdinov on that one. But that one, I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer than most people expect, especially in the striking. Brian Battle is probably the better striker out of the 2. Up next, even odds here. Rafa Garcia takes on Mahishat. I don't know if you guys remember, but Mahishat was actually one of my ice picks his last fight, and he had a quick knockout. I forgot who was over. Steve Garcia, that's what I mean. Yeah, so Two Mexicans fighting Mahi Shot in a row. Mahi Shot, this guy's young, only 23. He looks really good. 6 foot for that weight class at lightweight. I'm going with Mahi Shot all day. I think Mahi Shot should take out Rafa Garcia. Even Rafa Garcia has been looking good. I know he's coming off a loss to Drakkar Close, but I'm thinking Mahi Shot's going to take that one. Now, this is interesting. Said Nurmagomedov take on Said Yokubov Kakramanov. This is an interesting one. I hate betting against Nurmagomedov. The guy's last name Nurmagomedov. I don't want to bet against him. But this guy, he's not like Umar or Usman Nurmagomedov. He's super well-rounded. Said is coming off 3 straight wins. Pretty impressive. He did lose to Hani Barcelos in 2019. That was the one where I was like, okay, but Hani Barcelos was good, but yeah, so let's see here. Said Yokubov Kakramanov, he's coming off, 4 straight wins as well. His last loss was to Pipe Vargas 2019. Yeah, I think this fight's going to go over. I'm going to take this fight to go over 1.5 rounds. I don't know what the odds are for the over 1.5, but I do believe this fight is going to go over 1.5. Up next, Julian Marquez, Deron Winn. I don't even need to get into this one. Deron Winn, he's like mini DC. I just think he's too small for the weight class. You're only 5'6", and you're fighting at 185 pounds, sorry. Weighs in at 186. You're fighting at middleweight. You're 5'6". You got guys like Alex Pereira that are cutting from, 230, dude. This is just not the weight class for Deron Winn. I think he needs to figure it out because he's not going to be able to hang in there with these middleweights. He's just too small, So I'm going Julian Marquez all day on that one. Unless Deron Winn is a good wrestler, though. If he can make it a wrestling match, that's his key to victory in that fight for sure. Jake Matthews coming off a very impressive win over Andre Fiallo. Andre Fiallo is a tough dude. Before that, he did lose to Sean Brady by arm triangle choke. No shame there. Sean Brady was undefeated at the time. Came back strong. Beat Fiallo. Now he's taken on Matthew Semmelsberger. 10 wins, 4 losses. Now Semmelsberger is 2-2 in his last 4 fights. Those losses come to Alex Morono and Chaos Williams. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Jake Matthews on this one. I think Jake Matthews should be able to get it done. He's been looking pretty good, and he's losing to top guys, only. And he's been, I think, he's one of those guys that was an Ultimate Fighter back in the day in Australia. And he's got a lot of experience, been training a long time. So I think this is his time. So I'm going with Jake Matthews on that one. Up next, Cody Brundage takes on Mikhail Oaks. I don't even know how to pronounce that last name. So Cody Brundage coming off 2 straight wins. Pretty impressive. He did lose to Nate Diaz's buddy, Nick Maximoff. And he's taking on Michel, or whatever you want to call him. So Michel, most impressive actually fight of his. So he beat Sam Alvey, who's like, he was expected to win that fight against Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey's been on a big downward spiral, but he fought a guy named Dustin Jacoby, who's got just a ton of pro kickboxing fights. Really good kickboxer. He lost the fight, but I was super impressed of his performance against Dustin Jacoby. I thought Jacoby was going to run through him. It was not the case at all. It was a great fight. So I think, I'm going with Michel all day, and he's minus 280 favorite. I think he should be able to get that one done. Up next, the Doberman, Drew Dober, takes on Bobby Green. I like Bobby Green. Bobby Green's great, man. He's a fun guy to watch, keeps the hands low. Good. He doesn't have the most power like Drew Dober. Drew Dober hits hard. He's definitely got the power advantage. I would say the wrestling advantage I'd probably give to Dober as well. Bobby Green does have pretty good takedown defense. So Drew Dober's coming off 2 straight wins. One to Rafael Alves. That was a really impressive one. And to Terrence McKinney as well. Bobby Green, on the other hand, coming off, a loss to Islam Makhachev. No shame there. He's the number 1 guy in the world right now, in my opinion. And before that, it was pretty impressive that he beat Nasrat Haqparast. I'm slightly leaning towards Drew Dober. However, I have a feeling this fight is going to go over 1.5, so that's going to be my bet on that one. This one's going to go over 1.5 rounds because I don't like betting against Bobby Green. I like him. So Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres takes on Julian Arosa. So Bruce Leroy coming off a loss to Sadiq Youssef, but before that he racked up a couple good ones. I think it was like 6 in a row, which was pretty impressive. Now he's taking on Julian Arosa. Julian Arosa on the other end, he's coming off. He's coming off a few wins. One was really impressive over Hakeem Dawodu. He was a big underdog going into that one. So he's racked up 3 straight wins. I'm leaning towards Juicy J on this one. I'm going to go with Julian Arosa. This one could go either way, though. I'm not really big on both these guys, but I think Julian Arosa has just been looking better. So the biggest favorite on the card, Amir Albazi, one of the only fighters in the UFC coming out of Baghdad, Iraq, takes on Alessandro Costa, the Brazilian. Amir Albazi, on a roll. His only loss was to Jose Torres in Brave CF, which was in 2019. And after that, he's racked up 4 wins in a row. One was actually over Davison Figueiredo's brother, which was pretty impressive. Now he's taking on the Brazilian, Alessandro Costa. He's on a roll himself. This is actually really surprising that Albazi is such a big favorite, minus 440. That's pretty crazy. I do have him winning, but the fact that he's minus 440, I'm not taking that because Alessandro Costa is for real. He's got a big win streak. I believe he's got, 7 wins in a row, does Costa. So I don't really feel too comfortable betting minus 440 on Amir Albazi, even though I do think Amir should get it done. He is the better fighter out of the two, in my opinion. And hopefully they can stack up that flyweight division. That flyweight division, once you get to the, top 10, there's really not too many good guys. I mean, if you go to the top 5, yeah, sure, we got some guys, but we need to stack that division up. And so this fight I'm looking forward to the most in lightweight division. Arman Sarukian takes on Damir Ismagulov. Arman Sarukian, man, this guy's got all the talent in the world. Unfortunately, they just, they've been matching him up. Only 26 years old. They've been matching him up against hard guys. Since he got into the UFC, his first fight in the UFC was against Islam Makhachev, current champ, number 1 guy. We already know. Racked up five in a row after that Islam fight. Then he fought Mateusz Gamrot, and he was actually winning the first few rounds. Then Mateusz Gamrot started coming on strong near the end of the fight, and it was a 5-rounder. His next, I believe this one's a 3-rounder against Damir Ismagulov. Ismagulov's had some close ones. He won a split decision over Garam Kutladze, who's actually Hamzat's training partner. I thought Garam might have won that fight. It was super close. It could have went either way. But I'm slightly leaning towards Arman Sarukian. However, I'm going to go with the over 1.5 on this one. I see this fight going over 1.5 for sure. I just think both these guys are super tough, going to be hard to finish. And yeah, I just think this is probably going to be your fight of the night. This is probably your 2 highest skill level fighters on the card. Sarukian is a guy I see fighting for a title one day. Ismagulov, 24 wins, 1 loss. That's a crazy record, super crazy. Not many guys you see with a record like that. I mean, I don't even feel comfortable betting too much on Arman Sarukian because that's how good Damir Ismagulov is, especially his boxing. He's more of a boxer compared to Sarukian. He's more of a Muay Thai guy. The grappling edge, I'll probably lean towards Sarukian for sure, but Sarukian likes to stand and bang, so this is going to be interesting. Definitely your fight of the night, in my opinion. Now, the main event, Jared Killa Gorilla Cannonier takes on Sean Strickland. Even odds. This is what I like to see in a main event. I don't like main events when you got guys who are minus 500. It's that's not a main event. That's one-sided traffic. So Sean Strickland, I really like Sean Strickland. I'm a Sean Strickland fan. I think he's hilarious. If you watch some of his interviews, dude, he's hilarious, man. So Cannonier 2-2 in his last 4 fights. He's coming off a loss to Israel, the Stylebender, who was the champ at the time. No shame losing to Israel Adesanya, even though he didn't come in with a good game plan. He just came in there strike with Adesanya. Not a good game plan. And that's the same thing with Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland, horrible game plan. He coming into this last fight against Alex Pereira. I mean, you don't want to strike with Alex Pereira or Izzy Adesanya. These guys are professional kickboxers. They've been doing it since they're kids. You, on the other hand, these guys are mixed martial artists. Sean Strickland's got a pretty good ground game himself. Like, if he can utilize that ground game against Cannonier, I think that's going to be his key to victory. He's got some impressive wins. Guys like Jack Hermanson. He beat Jack Hermanson. I think he can beat Jared Cannonier as well. So I'm going with Sean Strickland on this one. I hope he doesn't get caught and do some dumb stuff because he's a bit of an idiot. But if he fights how he should fight, I think Sean Strickland is the better fighter out of the two. And I think Sean Strickland should be able to get it done. So that's my pick, Sean Strickland. I seen some of you guys post your bet receipts from BetUS for last week's UFC. I love that shit. You guys, making money, passive income. That's how we got to do it. Some people are complaining about their other gambling sites. I don't give a shit about your other gambling sites. I tell you guys, BetUS, these guys are for real. Literally, I've never had a problem with these guys, and they keep it real all the time, and they'll pay you out right away. You'll never have an issue with those guys. So, BetUS promo code Iceman. You already know. Follow my picks. If you're not feeling them, don't follow them. No one's forcing you to follow these picks, right? So they're all free picks. So let's make some money. Out.